G'day YouTube, Warbles on a lot here. Time to fit the fireplace into the fairy light bedecked yurt with solar electric illuminated mushrooms and guy ropes which glow in the dark due to that spiral wrapped reflective strand. And mats have appeared on the floor. The bed has appeared under the tent. Some furniture is beginning to fill the space. The cutesy poo little fireplace is in situ. And step one, I think we'll replace those rocks with some fire bricks. That will be something of an improvement, and I think that if that's going to be an ash bucket, if it's going to be hot ashes going into the bucket, it's going to have to be at least that far forward. Maybe it'd be better on the other side, but yeah, there's a specified clearance in height, you see. In view of the door, that would be a better alternative, but personally I'm thinking that it's really only going to have hot ashes in that bucket when the fire is, well, not even then. You're never going to have hot ashes in that bucket because you're only going to be putting ashes in the bucket when the fire is cold and you're lifting out the ashtray and plopping it in the bucket. So let's go back to the idea that the ashes in the bucket lives back behind the stove, because that's just a place for the bucket to live. It's not like it's ever going to have a red hot bottom in it like it used to when she was living in a full-size house and she had a full-size Kent fireplace, rather than a tiny little miniature version thereof. Meanwhile, the story is this is going to be for firewood storage. And my experience of firewood teaches me that handling it generates an enormous amount of bark, chips, and general debris accruing in the normal handling of firewood. So in a tent featuring fluffy carpet, as well as jute carpet, as well as cotton or flax carpet, I visualise this idea unmodified as being something of a problem. Therefore, thus and because, voila, a press-formed steel tray. Okay, here's what we have. Not quite certain why we're going to need that, but perhaps after there's an awning up. Not quite certain what the little wire rings are for, but perhaps that's to support the flue as it comes out at an angle. You can also get 45-degree versions of that, one of which I think we might need. And this, which obviously has to be bolted to there. At some point, I do recall there was a separate set of instructions pertaining to fitting this together. Happily, I read them because I can't find them at the moment. Disassemble that to that point, and then we roll up the flap, which has a secondary purpose in preventing rain from running down and directly running from the top of the tent onto the hot chimney. Cute. Okay. Well, we'll see how that goes. Okay. Let's try not to make a mess of this. Okay, hopefully that will be a big enough hole on each of them. Well, I've got holes in the tent, but I'm absolutely unwilling to try and make those holes any bigger with a knife, and they're not big enough for the bolts to come through. So, believe it or not, we're going to drill a hole in the tent with an electric drill 6 times. Got to be a tight tent. There we go. Let's hope that works. There you go. If you look very closely, the top bolt is in. Okay, so that gets it roughly aligned. And believe you me, getting these bloody things in the holes, poked through and matched up. Rotten bastard. It's really quite an exercise. I mean, you only have to do it once, because you could, if you wanted to, roll the tent up and take it camping with this thing prefixed in there. But yeah, that's kind of the general idea of it. If you had 2 people, it'd be easy. And now the last one of them. Right. And now I just need to go and get a tool or 2 and tighten them up. Okay, so in the theory, I can tighten this onto a bolt head and then rest it on the top of the single chimney pipe, and then go outside and reach in through the rubber hole and hang onto the handle to hold it on the bolt so that I can then tighten it up with the pliers. At least that is the theory. Don't know whether the camera's going to show that. Yes, just barely does show it. Let's hope this works. just like I bought one. And for this one, doesn't want to sit on the chimney, so I'll try it from the outside. That worked so well, I'm going to try it again. Okay, all 6 bolts torqued down. Got a reasonably even heat resistant fabric lip protruding into the tent. And now the story is we put some water on this and we drive it up through that. And yeah, that's the theory. So we apply wet toilet paper to the rubber, and we apply the wet toilet paper to the stainless steel. And you can sit on the outside and see what emerges. Just push it through, they said. There we go. Would you look at that? Once again, just like I bought one. And then, to bridge the gap, we take another length and we fit that to there, and that works. And then, well, I think that might be looking pretty good. Never having done it before. It would be better if it was like that, but I don't know, maybe given time and a bit of heat that'll get there. Put the Jubilee clip on there and the rest of the chimney. There we go. A stainless steel chimney. Oh, have to continue panning handheld with a spark arrestor. At least that's the theory. How quaint is that? Oh, we'll see how it goes. It's definitely going to be downwind of the peak when the wind blows from the south. But there's a $317 rain fly coming, and it also has what they call a flue jack or a chimney jack. But anyway, those are the parts I had left over. After plumbing a chimney and a fireplace into a tent. And the door even has a window with which to watch the fire flickering. Door has a seal and it takes a bit of pressure to close. And we have a water heater as well, which I imagine probably will boil the water. So yeah, there you go. The yurt is progressing. It's Not going to be quite as cold in winter as a tent would otherwise be when you can light a fire. At least that's how it seems to me. And I have lived in a tent in winter here. Nothing like as palatial as this though. I had an 8 foot by 8 foot. Funny little 1980s vintage tent. And yeah, well, if it's not exactly perfectly true square, perpendicular and vertical, does it matter? It's a bloody chimney in a tent, for God's sake. Nothing else on the whole thing is flat, square, straight or perpendicular. It leans out like that because the surface of the pad is a slight fried egg shaped dome. All the better to shed water when it rains. But yeah, that should work, I hope. Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Daddy Warbles helps out. Ciao. Looks like I might have to shift the fireplace just a little bit to the east if I want to go chasing that last 3 degrees of verticality. A couple of hours later. Solar powered multicoloured mushrooms. And of course, the darker it gets, the brighter the fairy lights are. And as I did mention, the stripes, little silvery looking stripes on the ropes, they glow as well in the torchlight, but very difficult to show on a mobile phone camera. So, the yurt now has a fireplace. Whoever would have thought it? Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Ciao.